I think one thing I really learned from Princeton is the classwork and the research and the really sets a very strong foundation in terms of critical thinking and doing a research that you get to the first-hand information and how to synthesize it. That's kind of a intellectual framework foundation. Usually it's required as a key competency for leadership. But more, I think, for me, as I develop leadership skills, there are a few events that really, I think, has a bigger impact for me. And one is at my work at Intel. So I was started as summer intern when I was still as a PhD student at Princeton. And then once I started at Intel, that I have to lead a group of engineers, it's very foreign to me, right? And to work with these engineers actually are much older than I am, right? So, but they don't report to me, right? So eventually I practice kind of leadership by influence, because Intel is such a big machine that every semiconductor chip they produce, it takes $2 billion to just build a factory. So they actually have to have people to be able to share their ideas very honestly and make sure there's no kind of mistakes being made, because it's very, very expensive. And to have a culture that you can honestly express your opinion, right? Not being afraid I might offend someone, or I always try to be polite, and but do it in a way it's constructive. Then later on you progress to managing people. Eventually I started my own company. That presents a different layer of leadership kind of opportunity and the challenges, and how to build a team and motivate them. I think it's the most difficult one in terms of leadership decision and experience is actually to build a senior team. One very important one is that the people will share the same value and the culture. And it's very difficult to change people's basic value and the culture. And when you don't put the right people can share that, and then the problem becomes bigger. And because a senior team, then when you make adjustment, it's painful. It's very important to have a vision and also have a strategic thinking. And as I think it's a part of the leadership that builds that culture, the seeking excellence. And I think the young team members actually, they have tremendous potential. They were not necessarily given the opportunities. So motivating, but also very important to empower them. And they will do great things. And that's the quickest way for them to grow. And we give them certain allocation of capital, and they can invest. And we know sometimes they may not do the best investment, but that's kind of tuition we are paying. But that really changed their mindset very differently. Instead of saying, hey, I just focus on doing the best research or sourcing the best opportunities, but I don't really know whether we should do the investment. But once they have the opportunity to say, I have this capital, I can be the big part of making the decision, they help them to think, what's the most critical part for my investment decisions? We are so fortunate to have a team and working with us, but when we have the great success, big or small, and we want to share with everybody. And we kind of shared it to the secretaries working in organizations. We tend to be low ego, and we really appreciate it, and the other people that they have their strengths and we can learn from. And we are all human beings, and we make a mistake, and we want to admit our mistakes very honestly, and that's the culture we are building in the organization. The quicker you fail, quicker you adjust, the better chance the company will succeed. And instead of some companies and really just feel that they really need to maintain their image and have that kind of a strong ego and not admitting the mistake, and usually that they will pay for that. I think it relates to the fail fast, and but quickly you adjust and make corrections.